You're listening to Cold Press Conversations with Dr. Jewel White Williams, a lover of numbers, lists, and a good glass of cold pressed juice, who is sharing episodes each week to help you explore the back end of healthcare and health sciences. Where a lot of that grit is done, we'll dive into topics covering research, education, and clinical practices, as well as guest shows with other leaders in the field. Pull up a seat and let's dive into these amazing and game changing conversations. Hey, it's me, Dr. Jewel. This weekly video is not going to be like all my other videos. I keep my outline always. And I really and truly wanted to meet the needs of so many people because I do have an upcoming masterclass coming. However, something came across my mind. So I've been thinking about a lot of things, and I really and truly want to say the following. I posted a question, and the comments are still coming in. I must have put it on the right place at the right time and in the space when people truly want it to be heard. I think it's a combination that some people want a solution, and in a sense, some people are just stating the things that are happening right now. So where did I post it? I'm not going to tell the exact group, but it is with educators. What was my question? And I wanted to know what their challenges were. And I needed to know that because I could feel something as an educator. I'm an educator. I still teach. And, it's kind of like the mama bear thing. You can feel it. You could feel the tenseness. You could feel the concerns that are out there in regards to education. And even though that it is heavy at this present moment, dealing with policies, we still have the humans that are in our classroom. And I'm talking about the teacher itself. And I'm talking about the culture that is there, because every school has its own culture. Every school does. Even within its own county. Let me break it down for those of you who do not understand education. In education, you can have an entire county, and I'm just using a baby county just to help y'all understand. You can have a huge county, maybe 5 schools, 1 high school, 1 elementary, and 3 elementary. The 3 elementary in that county, even though it is small in radius, you may have students who are in a rural section, some students who are in a town section, and some students who are in another section of the county. And within that area, that county, each school has its own culture because it's just like a home. Even though you have everyone living on the same street, the only commonality that you may have is the street itself. But every single person's home has his or her own rules, has his own culture, has its own beliefs. And that's the same thing that happens in a school system, specifically in one school, and it's the culture. Okay. And that culture can have a positive effect on those who walk in the door, or a negative effect. And I'm just being real. And then, Coach, I'm going deep today. You could have it so that when you look at leadership, the culture can come directly from whoever is the principal of that school. And one thing I had to do often is reflect. Okay. And sometimes, regardless of how your culture is and what you're trying to do, you still may have an undertone that may be happening as well. So you just have to be cognizant. You have to be aware. You have to be on your toes at all times. And for teachers at this present state, they have various concerns and challenges that they have in regards to life because they have something outside of those walls. They go home by themselves because they're single, to a dog, two children, or they're going home as a wife, as a husband, or a partner. They may be going home to care give for their loved one or ones. The dynamic of when a teacher goes home or their safe space, which we hope is a safe space, they have their own things that are going on there. So where am I getting at? So when I posted that question, I really and truly, I really want to meet the needs of my teachers for their well-being. And I'm telling you, it allowed me to really realize some things about them. And they have a lot of concerns, a lot of very deep concerns, which I'm happy about because they felt safe enough to discuss it. And their colleagues are either agreeing, giving suggestions, or are just making people think. I'm going to tell you the one thing that it allowed me to do, though. It allowed me to appreciate even more the hills and the valleys in which I tread. Not tread it, past tense. It's continuous, it's a continuum because their transparency is something that some of us actually hold within. When I say that, that is not healthy at all. But you also have to consider the space and where you are to make sure that you still put food on the table. So, how does this even relate, or how does this even um, articulate itself within the realm of education? How does it articulate itself in the realm of wellness? And I'm telling you, I'm stating this because I care. So when you are in a space and you have a question, and I did that intentionally, and I would love to talk to them. I would love to have them on and talk to them just collectively. And I want to be their listener. I want to hear what their concerns are because it's not just because I care. Sometimes you need to have that one person who's been in that same space as you, and you just want to hear how they are managing or how they are dealing with or how they are um, walking that path, because it may give you a suggestion as to how to position yourself appropriately in that same path. And that's one thing that I love about educators. We love to communicate. Educators love to communicate. Educators love to express their feelings. Educators are an amazing group of people. It's a very unique profession. I'm going to use some of the terms that they stated. Some of them were, and I'm just doing it anonymously, but they were stating that they felt like it is the only space where someone has to be not just one individual, but maybe 6 or 7 individuals at once. Especially, you have to be sometimes the nurse because of recess. Sometimes you have to be the counselor. Sometimes you have to be the mama bear, which we shouldn't be. Um, and they just continued on with all the different things that they have to do. They have to be the safety person. They have to be, and it goes on. Educators do so much in order to make sure they are meeting the needs of their students. They had to be the researcher. Y'all see where I'm coming from? Every time I try to express more words continue to come to light. So I guess that's where I would like to take it. So my question would be is what are some of the challenges that you as educators have? And how does it even correlate? How does it correlate to your well-being? So, I'm just going to give you a couple of things, and what some of the things that I have noted are that educators face student academic progress issues, mental health and social emotional needs. Addressing their students' needs is one of the larger challenges that teachers are having to focus on. Staffing shortages. So the principals, the district managers are having to make sure they're meeting the needs of these teacher shortages, and and it affects the teachers who are around them. And many of us know exactly how it affects them. Because when we have teacher shortages, the workload for those staff members impacts them, and it can impact their quality of instruction. Many teachers are in a space of limited funding and limited resources. I have been there. I actually bought my own copier one year and used it for many years until it just stopped working, because sometimes you needed to get what you needed to get to make your class move, because I provided resources for them to use as tools in order to do the research that they needed to do. It wasn't just copy sheets that they did for fun. I already told you about the workload management, where you have the lesson plan and the grading, the administrative duties that can lead to burnout. Adapting to educational trends, which I would love to state that as educators, you have such a, oh, I tell you, it just hit me hard. Sometimes there's something new that comes out. They want to try it, but sometimes it only lasts for maybe a year to 2 years, and then they find out there's something else that may be just as good, if not better. That's what's stated. And then from that, they have so much to think about. They have to learn a new program. They have to figure out how that program works, and then they have to disseminate it to the kids, provide the data from it, while still having to reteach or having to teach something new to the students who are in the old program. So that workload management can lead to burnout, because they're having to forget the old program, learn the new program, on top of keeping abreast of the curriculum that is there. Engaging students is extremely difficult if they lack interest and are lacking motivation, because our lesson plans have to be diverse in the different types of learning styles, the different types of preferences, in order to meet the challenges that the student has, he or she has. Um, Classroom management, I hear this all the time, and trust me, we can try everything from MTSS to behavioral plans to all types of meetings, but to create an environment that's conducive to learning for every student that's there can be challenging, especially if it is a large class. It could be a small class too now, y'all. Can be something very, very challenging. Then you have parents who are involved, and you want to make sure that they are effectively working with their student. And the issue could be is that our expectations may be found difficult for parents to understand, because the curriculum changes. The way that we may have been taught, the way that we may have learned, has significantly changed about as to how the process of learning has changed. Rote memory is out, but there's still some people who are doing rote memory. That's just an example. That was a mini segue, sidestep. And then we also need to be accommodating to the diverse learners, their abilities, making sure we have inclusive classrooms to make sure we're meeting their needs, because we do have 504s, IEPs, and some students are ISPs, individual support plans. So we have to keep that in mind. So when we consider all of these different challenges that are out there, I can go on to all the different challenges. I believe what I just mentioned are at least or it hits many of the 8 areas of dimension of wellness that are critical for teachers to maintain themselves and to be their best in the classroom. So I go back to my question, what is your biggest challenge? And even though they gave it to me, I'm telling y'all, it hit me hard. When I started getting the first 5 hit me so hard, I had to stop. I was like, oh, I understand. Because I considered where that issue that one person may have brought up, or that other issue that other person brought up, it affects them on a daily basis. And so, as leaders, we have to find ways in which we can meet the needs of our teachers, and our teachers need to find ways so they protect themselves. And when I mean that, I'm talking about their mental capacity, the physical capacity, the intellectual capacity, because I want them to be their best. But I also want them to, meaning teachers, I want them to know that someone is listening. I'm bringing it back, y'all. So holistically, I am thinking of, even though I started here and it went out and now it's going back in again, I want people to know that teachers do care. There are a lot of teachers out there who really, really care, and they want the best for their students. They want people to have them appreciate the acumen that they have within the classroom setting. It's hard for people who are not in education to understand the curriculum that is there, that is in place, the expectations that are needed in order to create an environment for learning for their students. And so that's one of the key things that I would love for people to know, that it's okay, that there are people out there who want to listen to you. There are people out there who care about you. And we want to see, we really and truly, we as leaders, we as other educators want to see you to be want you to be successful. One thing before I go, I do have to state that the novice teacher, the average time frame that a new teacher comes in, they're no longer staying the 5 years. It's going back to the 3 years. And to be honest with you, more and more teachers are leaving after the first year. So holding on to a teacher is pivotal, and having those new teacher programs and having the support systems there for the teachers is important, because they are meeting so many challenges on a daily basis, sometimes on an hourly basis, that it feels as though some of the teachers feel as though it's like a fire hose, like it's just coming in nonstop. But I just want to say thank you for just listening to me about teacher education and about the leaders in the field who want the best. However, they just want to be heard and know that they are appreciated for their acumen. They are appreciated for what they're doing in the classroom. And we do have good teachers out there. And I want to say thank you. Thank you so much for all that you do. And I know y'all hate having that. And to be honest with you, Teacher Appreciation Week does not meet the needs of a teacher. We need to appreciate them daily. And so if you haven't heard today, or you haven't heard at all, you are appreciated. Take care. I hope you enjoyed this episode of Cold Press Conversations. If you love this episode as much as I did, I need you to head on over and subscribe so you never miss an episode. This is Dr. Jewel signing off to health and cognitive happiness.